Dang, how has it already been 8 months since my last ranking? And how did it already have 13,000 views? I should really capitalize off of this with another ranking, but what to make? How about that one mod I've kind of grown really attached to? Yeah, sure, no one's done it yet, so might as well be the first. Fnf Doors Floor 1, the most underrated mod in the Funkipedia 2025 Hall of Fame, at least from what I've seen. How you unlock songs in this is completely different from what you normally see in an FNF mod. The only thing that comes close to it in terms of uniqueness is Monster of Monsters' Overworld. Normally in FNF mods, you select a week with a collection of songs to play. In this mod, there are no weeks. BF traverses a hotel with 100 rooms while avoiding the entities that want him dead along the way. But sometimes they just want to sing, and so does he. As of late, I haven't been able to stop looping this OST for some reason. Some songs just have melodies so catchy I can listen to them over and over and over again. But which songs are those? And what about the ones that aren't so loopable? Let's see how I would rank the songs in the mod that got me back on Roblox after a several month-long hiatus, gave me a sheer heart attack on every turn I took when first playing it, and is basically its own game at this point. But before that, let me show any new viewers what this panel above me is. This thing gives you a little extra info about the song and my opinions on it. It'll be above every song in every ranking I do. The bottom part from left to right is the song's placement in the week, its placement in the list, and what tier it's in. Check the description for what all my tiers mean. The top part, from left to right, is who's singing the song's name, and the composer of the song. At the end of the video, I'll also rank each week based on all the song's tier placements. An explanation of that is also in the description. With that out of the way, let's get into the ranking. Also, I put a post up when I started production on this video saying whoever guesses the mod I'm ranking gets a shout out, and that person was LoganGamez. Congratulations, you did 3 seconds of spotlight. Demise is so overhated, and I don't... Wait, shoot, wrong song, hold on. Demise is pretty mid. I'm just gonna keep it real, it's not great. Rush is supposed to be one of the more intimidating entities in Doors, and this song does not do him good justice at all. He sounds like he's singing me a lullaby, and BF in turn sounds like he's about to fall asleep. Rush is also way too loud for some reason. He has an imposing presence and all, but I literally can't hear anything else over him, and this chromatic is not all that great for him either. Also on that part after those bell chimes, Rush straight up sounds like ear-rape TV static for some reason, and it's not pretty to listen to at all. Demise is the best part about the song, and even then it's pretty bare bones until the last part, and it's both of the reasons the song is so boring. In Doors, Rush runs through the halls killing anyone in sight, so the song should feel like I'm being chased or hiding from something scary. Instead, he sounds like he's trying to hypnotize me. Why? It's not a bad song, it's one I never really want to listen to, and one of the reasons I often don't play story mode with the repeat modifier, which gives a chance to play the same song multiple times. You know what, I think I've convinced myself to push this down to C tier after that. Now credit where credit is due, it has a nice and mysterious atmosphere like where the hell am I and what is this thing in front of me, but you can apply that to pretty much any entity in the game and make it work. Also, the last couple of seconds actually have really nice melodies to listen to. The only problem is the rest of the song being a whole slog to play. I can excuse it for its faults though, since it's 3 years old, existing even when the mod is called Versus Doors Demo and Rush looked like this. Seems to be getting a remaster at some point, which is cool and very much needed because this current version is not it, chief. Seeing Onward down here kinda sucks because it used to be around the middle of the list. So what happened for it to fall so hard? I realized I do not like BF's voice here, and the melodies he sings are not that interesting. The chromatic appears a couple more times in the mod, so we'll call it FMBF to identify it, since the composer FM065 is the one that uses it. He sounds nothing close to how he normally would, but instead more like a synth with the weirdest effects, and I'm not a fan personally. For the song itself though, the melodies are so forgettable and mushy that I couldn't remember a single one before listening to the song again for this video, and even then, while playing the song, it was hard for any of them to stick out to me, and by the time it goes quiet at the end, I couldn't name one thing of what I just played. All I could remember about it was that it had less going on than Halt, the other song that Halt has. Speaking of Halt, there's quite literally nothing to comment on since it doesn't have a chromatic and this is a full BF solo. The instrumental is fine, it's the saving grace for the song. It's mysterious and spooky, but also kinda techno vibey, like you've entered a haunted house that used to hold rave parties. And honestly, it kinda fits for Halt as an entity. Like, I could see this inst being played during the Halt room indoors. However, the inst alone isn't enough to make up for BF's shortcomings. I wouldn't complain if I got it during a run through of this mod or on shuffle through a playlist, but I wouldn't be too happy about it either.
Don't look at me. Hey, staring is rude.
Stare is weird to discuss. For one, BF is mostly singing with the FM chromatic again, which I've already expressed my distaste for, and I say mostly because there's a few moments where he sings in a different voice, and to be honest, it doesn't really change much for me. The instrumental is odd, composing of mostly weird sounding synths, and I'm not really sure how to feel about it. I guess they fit the style of the I songs they're going for well, and it's good to hear, but only in combination with the vocals and not much on its own. The song also sounds pretty samey the whole time. It could have placed even lower than it already is, if it weren't for the tempo change switching things up. That moment right there makes the song a bit more hectic instead of the ominous calm it had, and I like how it takes us out of the samey feeling pattern the rest of the song had. Also, Ice himself has quite a nice chromatic. No clue what he was sampled from to get here because I don't know a single I sound effect that sounds like that, but somehow it fits the design. Same goes for a lot of these entities. Their voices sound nothing like how they do in game. Some don't even make sounds in game, but you could imagine them sounding like that if they did talk, so good job to the sound guys at Glasshat for that. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, I don't really know what to say about Stare. It's fine, nothing special, but nothing egregious either. I wouldn't even notice it if we were completely removed from the mod. I don't exactly know what to say for Workloud. It feels like the bare minimum for a song to be passable. A60 sounds really staticky and muffled at certain points, which the static works since it makes those kinds of noises to signal its arrival indoors. Not sure of the muffling though. BF is pretty standard for the most part, yet the song as a whole sounds so samey that I feel nothing when he does change it up with high notes and beatboxes. The instrumental for the most part is just a faint rock guitar and a drum set. The melodies are filled with nothing and are all really repetitive. Nothing really happens to make the song any better or worse. You see what I mean when I say this feels like the bare minimum? It feels like you're doing the same thing over and over and getting nowhere. Although, I guess that's an accurate description for the rooms as well. For context, the rooms is an optional challenge in the hotel where you do nothing but walk forward through 1,000 doors, or around 200 if you can't take it anymore, and occasionally hide when you hear an unfitting noise amidst the ambience of nothing but your own footsteps. This takes about 1 to 3 hours to do, and it's more of a psychological challenge than a skill check. I guess make the song 20 minutes and it would really feel like going through the rooms. This one's also getting a remake, and it shows a lot of promise, but for now, this is practically the same mediocrity the whole way through.
What? What is it?
Orange, glad I didn't say apple again?
Funnily enough, every time I get Annoyance in story mode, I get annoyed. Not necessarily because the song is bad, but they're just so much better to get. Yet another kinda boring song, but this time only in comparison to the other Screech songs. It's still a fun listen, just nowhere near as much fun as the others. Why that? It's the slowest and shortest one, the most laid back, and the only one without anything happening for an extended period. The first 10 seconds is literally nothing but ambience before the title card drops, and after the 1 minute mark there's an awkward pause where everything goes muffled for a moment, and I don't see the reasoning behind it. The instrumental also feels just a bit too loud. I'd like to hear the singers slightly more, please. Of course, it's got some good elements to its name. While I did say it's the least interesting of the Screech songs, they're all meant to be silly, just the rest of them are much sillier than this one, which still sells the tone pretty well. The worst performing one is still a wacky fun time with this goofy little gremlin, and it's like it would be the main theme for the most annoying character for a kid's show. The melodies aren't the most interesting thing ever, but they're fine enough for what they are, with BF sounding as standard as ever and Screech kinda blending in with everything. Overall, Annoyance has a few hiccups here and there, but it's still pretty nice at the end of the day.
Looks like somebody's about to get ambushed!
Just like Stare, I don't really know what to say about Ambuscade. It's serviceable enough, just nothing I would go back to all that often. It has unique and okay sounding melodies throughout. The whole vibe it goes for feels otherworldly, which fits Ambush's design really well. He looks like an alien. However, speaking of Ambush, he's pretty quiet in the song and blends a little too much into the instrumental. BF's chromatic here is FM BF again with another weird effect over it that fits the tone of the song perfectly, although it sounds even less like BF than it was before. The song is only as low as it is because nothing really stands out to me all that much. I guess as much as I like its style, it could be even better utilized. Right now there's so little impact it leaves on me and I can't really describe why it almost feels bland. That is, until the beat picks up around the minute 37 mark. The spammy melodies work a lot better with the faster tempo than they would have with the original, and it just sounds so good. Reminds me of the dubstep part in Blue Golf Ball BF mix from BFDI 26 with how awesome it sounds. Too bad it's so short-lived though. Or is that a good thing because the song is ending? Either way, solid enough song with a great part that's well worth getting through the fine parts. Angry Spiders are a hard one to talk about, and especially ranked, but I'll try my best. Similar to Annoyance, it's a fun song that gets outclassed by all the other Timothy songs. But first, let's address the elephant in the room. The memes somehow make the song better and worse at the same time. They're funny to hear, I usually love to hear them in the middle of a silly song like this, but they don't always fit with the flow of the song. But sometimes they also do. Some moments they feel forced in last minute. And others it was like they were made for this song. They are very polarizing. Aside from that, the melodies for the most part are really nice to hear. BF and Timothy sound basic while they're not singing memes, and the instrumental is minimalistic, but it works. It's nice and funky while giving the spotlight to the singers. However, the song also goes on for a long time, longer than it really should. 4.5 minutes feels too much for a song of this nature. I can point out like 5 times the song could have ended in a satisfying way but kept going anyways, and even the whole final minute and a half feels like the song is continuing just for the sake of being longer. Timothy tragically dies of death, and the song slows down as if it's gonna end, but then...
Dying is gay. Yes,
why?
He's supposed to be dead!
Although when you're just casually listening, it feels much shorter than it is, and the rest of the song from there is mostly normal. In conclusion, Angry Spider is a good song compositionally and a fun one to listen to, but I feel like it prioritizes being funny over anything else a bit too much for it to be any higher. I like it, it's just extremely outclassed by the rest of the OST. I Spy is another perfectly alright song with nothing outstanding or terrible going for it. The instrumental is really empty most of the time, with synths and amen breaks being the only thing I hear during a lot of it, but it gets better with more instruments added as it goes on. The melodies are the main highlight of the song for me. They're really nice to hear, but I get the feeling that they could be used even better. On the other hand, the vocals are pretty standard, not much to note there besides BF changes chromatics a few times for no reason. Also, sometimes a bit of static and fade outs are played over the song, and I don't like them all that much. They add nothing but minor disruptions, and I really don't know why they're there. And as good as I said the melodies were, the song can get annoyingly repetitive, especially towards the end where it effectively loops itself. In short, I Spy is alright, nothing more, nothing less than fine. It could be a lot better, although it ain't all that bad on its own.
Nice place you got here. Too bad it'll be the last place you ever see.
Kinda sucks seeing the first Seek song so low, but it is by far the least intense one when Seek songs are supposed to be intense. For an entity that clearly wants to destroy you, Found You's instrumental is way too calm and vocals too laid back to fit comfortably into the Seek catalog. Sure, it's got suspense going for it, but suspense is not the best substitute for intense, especially when you're running full speed from this guy. The chase scene without the matching intensity feels very off-putting. Although it's still a good song in a vacuum, what it does well. BF sounds fine, he's whatever, but Seek, oh man, do I love Seek's chromatic. It is the definition of imposing, menacing, threatening. Any synonym you can think of for scary, it describes Seek's voice perfectly. However, he's quieter here than the rest of his songs, making this the worst usage of him in the mod. But if this is his weakest showing, then he must sound godlike in future songs. The instrumental in this one, like I said before, it's suspenseful, which doesn't fit Seek, but it still sounds nice. I really like the rock guitar being used as a bass for a change, and the piano adds some subtle mystery, along with a synth I think it is being the backbone of the main chord progression. While Found You is a good song, it's not a good Seek song. There's much better ones you would rather have at Door 75. Also, the BF solo at the end has no reason to be there or be as long as it is, but no reason not to either.
on the phone and you on the bus, then who was flickering the lights?
Flicker's pretty cool for the most part, I'd say. It's got highs and lows, but more highs than lows for me. I think Rush had the same chromatic he had in Demise with the filter over it, and it sounds much better here than it did there. BF is normal for the most part, although there are some high notes he sings, and for once in this list, they actually sound great. The instrumental is cool, pairs great with the melodies. If either were on their own, there wouldn't be much to comment on, but they're so good together, especially during those breaks in the first minute. There's a few subtle tempo changes thrown in throughout. By subtle, I mean it changes by 5 every now and then. It can be hard to notice. And initially, I didn't like them all too much, but now they're fine. They don't change the song too much, don't leave a huge impact on me, although there is one part that's much faster than the rest, and I almost think to myself, why wasn't at least most of the song like this? It's basically everything I liked about everything before it, and even better, yet it's so short-lived. Now for the lows of the song, while I complimented BF's high notes, sometimes he goes up there for no reason in particular, and it doesn't sound bad, just unnecessary. Other than that, there's nothing particularly wrong with the song, it's just nothing I would constantly go back to on my own accord.
Yeah, it's rewind time.
Rebound has a lot going for it. For one, this instrumental is awesome. The drums are filled with the most impact I've heard from drums in a while. I love the subtle choirs and bells in the background, it's just so good. Along with being able to hear it, BF and Ambush perfectly fine, and the melodies being really nice to hear, although a bit one note, you got a really high placing song on your hands. So why isn't that the case? Well, as cool as all it sounds, it is way too repetitive and sounds like the same thing over and over and over, and it feels like it's dragging on, even though it's only 2 minutes 45. Yeah, it sounds awesome, but the lack of variety really kills my enjoyment of it further than a minute in. You could skip to pretty much any part in the song, and it would sound the same as what you were just hearing. And even when you think it's gonna end or change up a bit, it just keeps going. Unironically, if it were less than 2 minutes or even a minute 30, I bet it would place much higher. Rebound is quite the disappointment in retrospect. An amazing song brought down so hard by a slight issue that was repeated far too much. I guess that's where its name comes from. You get it? Because the song is called Rebound, and it keeps repeating itself. And rebound, the word rebound means repeat. It's using different words that have the same meaning that makes it funny. Do you guys get the joke? Isn't it funny? Are you such a funny person?
What is wrong with you? Why are you...
You know, this mod being my first ever exposure to Doors, I had no clue Nekoseek was a thing, and after seeing the song, I questioned the sanity of the one that had the idea and the morality of the one that brought it to life. Catnip makes me mildly uncomfortable, so I'll make this quick to get this off our screens faster. It's a short, fun, and bouncy vibe, practically the polar opposite of Seek's presence, although there's a small bits of rock that I like. Seek sounds awesome here, just like in all of his songs. Nekoseek is a bit quiet, cat noises are a neat addition, and I like hearing it much more than playing it. I only wish it was longer and not based on this. Moving on. Starting Point is a vibe. The instrumental is funky, BF sounds incredible, and it's crazy that this is the first song that you would hear. It really gets you in the mood to face whatever's ahead of you head on. It's encouraging, it's empowering, it's 2 minutes. But honestly, that's perfectly fine when it's basically just BF singing along to the music in the elevator as he makes his descent. Where can I find the elevators that have these kinds of songs? I might as well go up and down them constantly, maybe even try to get myself stuck so I can keep vibing to this beat. This is unrelated to the ranking, but the mod chart here makes up for the lack of visuals. It's like they are the visuals. Even though it's basically just spinning and moving the arrows around side to side, it works in its simplicity, just like the song itself. What a perfect start to an adventure through a mysterious hotel, not knowing what might await us as we traverse, or even once we reach the bottom of this elevator. What a perfect way to start your Fnf Doors run.
You got hands on your phone.
The song has no right to go as hard as it does. Why does Screeching look like that? Why is he asking me if I have games? Why is the song called Mobile Gaming? So many questions that will never have answers. Anyways, yeah, this song is way better than it should be. Glitches and tonals are already pretty good. We'll go more into depth with them later. And Screech doesn't even sing in his own chromatic most of the time, yet the You Got Games sampling is way too good to deserve it. Although there's a lot of spots where they feel like they shouldn't be necessary, and I'd rather have just used tune vocals. BF makes up for that emptiness in a way. The main melody is oddly catchy, where it's supposed to be really simple, but it's used in a way to make it a lot more memorable, and I like it for that. The instrumental is super groovy and fun to listen to. It's most of the reason why the intonals that take up most of the song aren't all that bad on their own. This is the only time I've ever heard the Samsung notification sound used in a song, and it's used concerningly well. Why does it fit so well? I'm scared. BF in the song is great, especially with high notes. I wonder how many more times you're gonna say that. And there's a brief moment where he sings the tonals that I like. The tempo change, although short-lived, is also pretty awesome. Practically everything that mobile gaming has really shouldn't be good, but it is, and it scares me. This is the most terrifying thing to come out of Doors. The only reason the song isn't higher, and trust me, I really want it to be, is because I prefer the songs above it more, which happens a lot on this list, so I'll do my best to minimize the amount of times I bring it up. The next song I like you to play after Starting Point is Guidance, which, funnily enough, is the next one on our list. If safety could be described as a song, this would be the perfect definition, and this is the most relaxing song I've heard in a bit. Nothing's out to get you yet, no tensity, no danger, you can't even die. Just vibing with this mysterious ghost girl that makes you feel as if nothing bad's ever gonna happen. BF sounds chill and calm, and Guiding Light's voice is so soft and relaxing it could melt away any worries you've ever had. It's like it was specifically designed to make you feel safe, which there's a very good chance it was. And also the instrumental fits the safety tone, and Guiding Light's chromatic for that matter, perfectly. The soft piano, the mysterious but non-threatening chimes, the light percussion, even the abrupt saxophone that comes out of nowhere is super nice to hear. Chef's kiss, it's perfect. If you're ever having a bad day, just play Guidance to yourself and you'll feel better about everything. If you aren't, it'll at least alleviate the pain a big amount. Drawer is the very definition of short and sweet. Being just a little over a minute, you can get the song out of opening a drawer and not feel like you're wasting time playing it. Timothy sounds adorable. He's just a small little creature who wants to play, almost harmless. And BF is BF, of course, nothing special with him. The instrumental is hyperactive and upbeat, the melodies are a treat to hear, and it's just a really fun minute that doesn't waste your time. Even if it's the weakest of the main Timothy songs, I actually hope I get this one most of the time when I want to play through, so I can get back to the adventure quicker, but still have fun during this intermission. Although with how fun the song is during that 1 minute, I do wonder what an extended version could sound like.
I'm watching you, Wazowski. Always watching.
Hello, fellows. I'm AY, and today I will be talking about Always Watching. My personal favorite from Fnf Doors, and I just think it's an overall cool song. So let's get into that, shall we? To begin, the startup of the song is really, really fucking good. It immediately throws you into it with one long note from Eyes, and starting with Eyes, the chromatic is awesome. I think it's very like scratchy and clicky, and it has this weird glitch to it. It's so appealing to me. But on the other hand, BF, I wouldn't say it's as good. It's just very clicky and sometimes can be a bit annoying, but I've grown to it upon listening to the song some more. These are some like addicting melodies though, as it slowly ramps up throughout the song. It's just such an awesome feeling, and it has so much like menace to it, if that makes any sense. And the instrumental has such a good use of like sound effects, I'd say. Like the weird analog telephone glitching at the beginning as it throws you into the first note of the song is so awesome, and it keeps like a glitchy sound effect nature throughout it. It's such a good way to portray this like weird like overlooming force. I don't know. I don't got much else to say here. I think Always Watching is a fantastic song, and I think it's overall really damn cool. Yeah, I'll be saying myself out.
Thanks, AY. Always Watching is another weird one for me. It's almost like if Stare was better. It sounds really samey the whole way through, but it's the good kind of samey. Not exactly repetitive, it has unique melodies throughout, but the instrumental is what feels like it's looping. It's another song with the FM-BF chromatic that I don't like, the one that AY was hinting at earlier, but it's actually used decently well here. I don't know if it's a filter or if BF is just singing in a lower octave, but he sounds different, not as annoying as he did in most of the other FM songs so far. He sometimes sings as high as he did in Stare, yet doesn't sound as annoying as he did there, so it is likely a filter, which if it is, it makes him sound less like a blaring siren now, and I like it. The mixing could use some work, however. The inst is very loud, and it could be hard to hear Eyes, BF, or both over it. And there's not much to comment on Eyes, it's pretty standard usage of his chromatic. Yeah, Always Watching is a pretty nice song with not much to comment on, in my opinion, although clearly it has its fans. Stare Hell is by far the superior version, but it is still too similar to Stare. Of course, it's fine for a remix to sound like the original, almost like that's the whole point, but it's got a lot of the same flaws that made the original boring. Let's start with the good stuff. It's nicer to hear and there's more things to talk about. I like the key the song is in better, feels more mysterious than Bass Stare, which I don't even know what it was going for. There's another showcase of FMBF, but I really like the filter over him that makes him more echoey. They removed the tempo change of this one, but I think it's fine, maybe even better off without it, so he can keep up the mysterious tone, unlike Bass Stare, which wasn't the nicer sounding key and kinda relied on it. And it's just Stare, but better in practically every way. Wait, didn't I just say that for Always Watching? Wow, they sound very similar, as do a lot of the Ice songs now that I think about it, but I think I like the vocal usage better in Stare Hell over Always Watching. Anyway, Stare Hell is still by far the worst Hell song for a reason. Like I said, it feels like if you just gave Stare, an already low placing song on this list, some minor touch-ups, and copy-pasted a few parts to make it double the length. Oh yeah, and it mostly sounds the same throughout the whole thing. It's almost like the instrumental is looping itself. Wait a minute, I said that for I Spy and Always Watching, oh my god! I don't hate the song. In fact, I quite like it. I can see myself listening to it in my free time. But for a Hell remix, this really isn't it. Stare had to be Hell remixed to sound the same as Always Watching. I feel like it could be much better than that. I would honestly prefer if this was the base version of Stare, as long as you nerf the chart and the mechanic. Hell, maybe even make a Hell remix of this, because we got a lot more Hell remixes coming up way later, and it would be great if Stare was able to join them up there.
You kids can't keep your heads to yourself. I'm gonna turn this car around.
3, 2, 1, go!
Another song that was around since the Versus Doors demo, but this one actually aged like wine. Halt is so cool, it feels like a bunch of different genres mixed together really well, like a mysterious rock vibe kind of thing. Forgive me if some of those aren't actual genres. BF sounds great in this one. I think there's a filter over him to make him sound slightly more wavy, and it fits the distorted setting. Although I'm not a huge fan of a lot of his long notes. Oftentimes they only feel like they're filling in empty space, which why not fill them with some more melodies? Speaking of melodies, there's two in particular that I really like. They're really nice and catchy. The instrumental is awesome. It's so energetic, and I love the guitar playing along with BF. Like I said, it gives off a cool and mysterious rock vibe, and it's full of tension, but it's also calm at the same time. There's so much going on with this instant, I love it. And the key change is fire. Yeah, it's just the same thing we've been hearing in a different key, but it adds more intensity to an already nice song, and I love it. Halt is cool, and I'm surprised I don't listen to this one all that often. Although, I guess it's not as linkable as some others higher on the list, which is why it ends up here. There's the Seek intensity I'm talking about, or at least some of it. Not entirely sure about what to say for Ready or Not. Could you tell I don't like going through the middle of the list? Besides, I guess another opportunity to praise Seek's voice. It's used so much better here than it was in Found You, making him louder and using more long notes to really settle Seek's terrifying presence, and even when he sings more spammy, his next long note feels even more threatening. The song's instrumental also manages to get a nice mix of intense and suspense that found you could have had, especially in this close-up section where Sika's the only thing you see. It really solidifies the fact that this entity is something different and more dangerous than any other threat you've faced so far, and he is out for blood. However, and I hate that I have to keep bringing this up, BF uses the FM chromatic that I don't like again, and it isn't even used that well here. It's crazy how much higher a lot of these songs could be if BF sang in a voice that I actually enjoyed listening to. Doesn't kill my enjoyment or anything, it's just a big nitpick of mine. Besides, it's made up for it by the last minute ramp up of the tempo and in turn the intensity. Overall, Ready or Not has its highs and lows, making it the perfect song for the middle of the list. Similar to Drawer, Ethereal is the very definition of something, and that is standard. Nothing stands out in a way, nor does anything make it worse, which makes it difficult to talk about. I guess I like how fast it goes. In a way, it kind of fits for Ambush because just like Rush, he dashes across the room except much faster. He also comes back around, which is kind of reflected in the repetitiveness of the instrumental. Although that repetitiveness isn't much of an issue because the song is pretty short, not even 2 minutes, so I can enjoy it while it lasts without having to worry about how much longer it's going to take. If I had an issue with it, it does sound like it's about to go into another unique section right where it ends, and I'm left wondering what it could have sounded like if it were extended just a few more seconds. But other than that, I'm honestly not too sure what to say, except I like its vibes enough to place it here, but it doesn't do enough to go any higher. I guess most of the Ambush songs kind of blow when comparing to the other songs. We're not even halfway through and almost all of his songs are gone. At least they're all getting remasters at some point. Yep, all of them. I'm excited to see how they turn out. Tranquil is a pretty damn cool song. The main melody is really nice to hear. It gives off this stay quiet kind of vibe. Figure's chromatic is fine enough, but I can understand some people's distaste for it, and overall on paper it's in a high spot. So why isn't it? The main melody I brought up is practically the only thing sang in this song. It's literally Rebound all over again with its repetitiveness. Unlike Rebound though, it doesn't go over 2 minutes, which is a good and bad thing. It's good because I won't have to sit through the same melody over and over again for as long, and it's bad because I wanted to see it do more with itself. I wanted to hear a few more unique melodies before it ended. Also, I can't quite confirm it, but I think Figure's a bit flat on this part right here. Honestly, this song could use a remake similar to what I said Halt seems to get. A few minor touch-ups and an extension of maybe 1 to 1.5 minutes, but don't make it repeat itself for that long. As is, Tranquil is great for the first few seconds, then devolves into staleness, but ends right before overstaying his welcome.
Oh my PC!
And finally, the last entity that has more than one song that we still gotta cover is Glitch. 404 is pretty cool, I'd say. There's not much to comment on with the instrumental, and I bet I'd sound like a broken record saying the main melody is really catchy, but it's especially true for this one. Glitch sounds almost human, but that glitchy filter over him makes him sound just surreal enough to distance himself from that description and be more like an embodiment of the game itself, taking the physical form of a crystallized and glitch-powered person. Meanwhile, GF sounds terrified yet adorable at the same time somehow. I think this was sampled from her voice in the tutorial from Base Game, which explains how she's singing vowels that feel more natural for her character. Side note, but why does every mod seem to have a different chromatic for GF whenever she decides to sing? Am I the only one that noticed that mods can never seem to agree on what she sounds like? Anyways, this GF is probably my second favorite GF chromatic, behind Mario's Madness GF. That one's just too cute, although this one might be more like how she canonically sounds. For the song itself, there's a good mixture between mystery, intensity, and bits of something's gone wrong, like you're not even supposed to be here, which she isn't. She should have been with BF when he went through the first door. There's also the slowdown part, which kind of ruins the pacing the song had, but I don't mind it being there, and it doesn't have it again, so that's good. And also the fake out was kind of predictable when the entity you're fighting is clearly able to manipulate the game itself, but still goes pretty hard. It's nice. 404 is nice, although a bit more on the generic side for me to prefer other songs over it. Hey, there's the other library figure song. It's hard to decide whether this or Tranquil was worse, but I've decided Tranquil was just too samey to be better. Meanwhile, Not a Sound may have melodies that are less nice to hear, but they're still nice, and at least they're changed up as the song goes on. It also gives the Don't Make a Sound vibe a lot better, almost like that's the name of the song. Oh my god. Every time the song sounds like it's gonna ramp up in some way, it goes quiet again. It's actually really unique from the other songs in that way. Normally you would get into an amazing pop-off with your opponent, but this is different. If you do that, you'll get killed for it. That already gives it a more defined mood over Tranquil. Also, I didn't mention it in the last song, but I like the implementation of the heartbeat minigame into all figure songs. They sync well with the music, and it sets the mood that you gotta be so quiet you even need to control what's usually involuntary. And although I said ramp ups in the song go quiet quickly, BF still manages to get a little solo in, which sounds really nice, and you even get to hear the elevator jam at the end before Figure takes over again for another reprise of the main melody. Not a Sound overall is a nice sounding song all the way through, although its name is counterintuitive. It's called Not a Sound, yet here everyone is making sounds. What's the logic? The ordering of these songs has been the hardest part of this video so far because all of them have similar structures that I really like and their placements could change at any moment, even while script writing. Itzy Bitzy is one of the biggest examples of that. I can see myself liking the song a lot more in the near future. The instrumental is one of the catchiest we've seen so far, with some impact behind those beats and an awesome sounding synth to the back. BF and Timothy sound awesome. BF using another chromatic that I really like, apparently called Saruki BF. Timothy being the gremlin he is, and even the radio spitting memes is the cherry on top. I love when memes are used to make a silly song sound better, and this is one of the best examples of that. It's got all the elements of a high placing song, and the only reason it's not is because this mod is kinda stacked, once again. If you couldn't already tell, I really like this mod, and again, this placement had a chance to be higher at some other point in time, but for now, the song has the unfortunate fate of being outclassed by everything else. Trust me though, this could be a pretty high placement in a lot of other lists.
Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
I much prefer the tone in Left Behind over 404. GF and Glitch sound just as great as they did back there, if not a little better here, because Glitch is more audible now, and the instrumental has a more mysterious atmosphere, like, where am I? The kind of feel that I really like. Glitch also has the tonals in this one, and they're used fine enough. Every time they come on, they give whatever else is playing in the spotlight, like the first time they come on with the instrumental is mostly heard, and whenever GF and Glitch are duetting, you're more able to hear GF while Glitch freestyles. I still wonder what the song would be like if Glitch didn't sing in the tonals, or maybe GF had some, but at the same time I can't imagine how the song would be if that were the case. Besides that, the melodies are a lot more memorable in this one. I don't know if it's because I spent several hours trying to FC it, or because I've always found it that way, but it's just the way it is. Speaking of FCs, the mod charts in both Glitch songs may feel unfair when you first go through it, but really, it's like a hard level in Geometry Dash. You just gotta practice it a couple times, get used to the timing and weird visuals, and it'll eventually become really fun to play. Although the chart doesn't affect the ranking, I had a lot of fun going back to the song trying to get that FC. Not so much 404 because it gives you notes that you gotta hit mid-transition, and I never see what they are. To me, Left Behind is a slightly better 404 in a lot of ways.
Think fast, Chuckle Nuts!
What if I told you that this song is one of the big reasons I stuck around with Fnf Doors up to today? Watch Out was, and still is, really nice to me, and on first playthrough the most fun to play. The chart was a challenge to balance between playing it and keeping my eyes closed not for too long, but it felt fair and enjoyable, even if my lack of skill at the time got me 30 plus misses. The instrumental and vocals aren't too much to comment on, but the melodies are debatably the catchiest melodies in the whole mod. I thought this mod would be one of those where I play once and forget about it, but the song ultimately made me fall in love with the whole thing. From the moment I first heard those melodies, they've been ingrained in my brain ever since, even when I didn't remember most of the other songs. This one stood out. I just craved hearing them over and over and over again on YouTube, the whole time thinking I gotta leave this mod behind already, but I didn't. I came back and eventually got fully hooked onto it. It goes without saying that Watch Out is extremely loopable. It's not the most extravagant song ever, but it's simple, and it works wonders. The only reason it isn't any higher is simply because there's better songs above it, although a majority of them don't even come close to the memorability of this one, not even its own Hell remix.
Hello guys. Today we have a list of top 5 Freddy Fazbear. Número 5.
Did I jump scare you? Good, because that's the song that I'm talking about. Hi, I'm Sparky Gun. I make a lot of music, and Jumpscare is my favorite song from Fnf Doors. When I did my first story mode run, Jumpscare was actually the third Timothy song that I got, so by the time that I got to play Jumpscare, I pretty much knew what was coming. Except I didn't, because Jumpscare is quite literally a jumpscare. It's so different from the other songs. Most songs in Fnf Doors have this black fade-in, fade-out transition, with this fade disappearing before the song actually starts. But in Jumpscare, it actually fades out over the course of the first 2 turns, which is representative of a low-pass filter in the actual Jumpscare music. If you don't know what a low-pass filter is, it basically filters out the higher frequencies, which gives you this weird underwater muffled sound.
Oh, I always thought those were just called fade-ins. Didn't know there was an actual name for them. Low pass filter, huh?
So over the first 2 turns, you can hear sort of vaguely what the rhythm and melody of the song is, but you can't really hear it clearly until about halfway through Timothy's first turn. So once Boyfriend gets to sing, you actually get to hear the first melody in its entirety, which is this. Pretty much everybody loves this melody. It's very catchy, and I think that's because it uses a trick that I've learned during my music creation stuff, which is having the notes of this melody sort of follow the structure of the chord progression. Speaking of which, Jumpscare's chord progression is actually really weird. Jumpscare has a BPM of 200, which is pretty fast, although the drums make it feel slower than it is, and it is in the key of G sharp minor. It's like the home base of the song, it's the one that the song returns to. So the first chord in the Jumpscare chord progression is a G sharp minor chord. The second one is also, so it does that twice, but then it goes down to E minor, which is weird, and I'll get to that in a second. Then it goes up to F sharp minor, and one more chord that I'll talk about in a second. This E minor and F sharp minor are actually really weird because they don't fit into the key of G sharp, but because their main representative notes, which is the E and the F sharp, are in the key of G sharp minor, they still sound okay, they fit, but they fit kind of weirdly, which gives the chord progression this weird kind of spooky but also goofy feel, which is perfect because you've just been jump scared by a spider that's about to sing. But like I mentioned, there is one more chord, which is even weirder because it's G minor, which is entirely out of the key of G sharp minor. Yes, they're different notes, it's confusing. But this G minor chord does not fit in the chord because even its representative note doesn't fit in the key. However, it works still because it's actually the harmonic minor, which is a note right below the main note of the key you're in, which here is G sharp minor, so the note right below is just a regular G. So this G minor chord helps sort of lead back into the next loop of the chord progression. But the whole chord progression is like a jump scare because it's not expected, it's not very traditional, it's kind of weird. This does lead into the one complaint that I do have about the song, which is the fact that the chord progression is repeated for the whole song, which is kind of unfortunate. It's a really good chord progression, but because it's repeated through the whole song, and because the melodies are made to sort of fit this structure, they also end up being very repetitive, even though there are a lot of varied notes. Thankfully, that's not all of the weird difference that Jumpscare has up its sleeve, because later, 2 minutes into the song changes key into A minor, which basically means that all the melodies are up by one note, so they're a little bit higher pitched. And this begins the meme section. Itzy Bitzy also has these memes which are used throughout the song, which are played by the speaker that sits behind Timothy. However, Fearless, when making Jumpscare, thought it would be funny to make a whole section that's just meme sound effects, chopped up and spliced and played to the rhythm of the song, which is really, really fun. So you get through 8 measures, or sections, if you've done any FNF charting, you know what a section is, of this sort of back and forth between Timothy and the speaker. And every other turn in the song has been this 8 measures, so all of them have been the same length. However, here, it's the speaker and Timothy get twice as long. The turn ends up being twice as long, which is, again, unexpected, so it jump scares you. What's even more fun is Boyfriend also gets to do this, although he gets these little yapping and bapping sounds that aren't pitched, so they can be spliced up and played to the rhythm, similarly to the meme sounds. It works really, really well, and it's very fun and unexpected. The song also speeds up during this section, so it's even more like a jump scare. After this section, the song slows down from the sped up 216 BPM to the 200 BPM that the song was at before, and it replays the first part of the song in the higher key of A minor. After that, there's then the slower, calm section with one of my favorite melodies from the entire song, which is this. The drums are absent during this section, which gives us this sort of calm feel, as if you're kind of calming down from the rest of the song, which was like this fast-paced jump scare. So it works really well because in of itself the song acts like a jump scare, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Wow. Give it up for Sparky for doing the most in-depth analysis on a song I've ever seen. Anyway, jump scare is really fun to hear, yeah. The melodies in this are some of the most memorable in the mod, so good it even makes a short cameo in another song coming up, which I find funny was just shoved in there. The song likes repeating that melody a lot though, like it's the main thing being played basically throughout the whole thing. And as we've seen so far, I don't always like it when songs do that. However, this song repeats it in a lot of different variations to make it sound unique each time, to the point where the first few times I heard the song I couldn't even tell they were all the same melody. And aside from that, there's also meme sound effects scattered across the instrumental, the main one you can hear being Space Jam, adding funniness to the already goofy tone, and it always keeps a smile on my face while listening to it. And don't even get me started on the pop-off where the radio just spits memes in your face somehow in a way that makes it musically coherent, and BF responds with its own tonals and samples, which I'll talk about how this mod might have the best BF sample usage out of any other mod I've seen in another upcoming song. It's all just so awesome. Jumpscare is one hell of a fun time, only being brought down by repeated usage of the same melody over and over again, even if it's in a bunch of different ways and being covered up by funny noises. In a way, it's like Left Behind in 404 again, except Jumpscare is a slightly better Itzy Bitzy.
Burger King put lettuce. The last thing you want in your Burger King burger is someone's foot fungus.
He's in the walls. He's in the goddamn wall!
Despite Invader's lack of compositional complexity, it kinda slaps. There's a chance that Jack's dramatic is the only sound he makes, but pitched up by a lot, because I genuinely can't think of what else it could possibly be for it to fit this well. FMBF makes another feature in this one without any filters or anything this time, so you'd think this should be a lot lower, right? No, actually, I don't mind it all too much in this time, and it's used quite well here. Not exactly sure how that works, but I guess this chromatic naturally sounds better to hear in faster paced songs, unlike Onward and Stare. Speaking of fast-paced songs, this song is full of frantic energy and I love it. However, aside from the memorability of the main melody and beats going crazy, nothing much else is really happening, which is why it surprises me how this song places decently high for those two things alone. It's also surprisingly short, with the first and last 20 seconds just being built up and wind down instrumental in a 2-minute 25 song, only leaving about a minute 40 of actual singing. I can imagine several scenarios where this could place much, much higher, those being a better instrumental, more memorable melodies, and either an extension to its runtime or some of that beginning and end being more dedicated to vocals. For now, what seems to be the rarest song to encounter normally is worth its time to go look for. Man, this was so close to S tier. Encounter is a really awesome chase song. The intensity is cranked up to the maximum. I already love the dramatic instrumental, especially the bells. It really feels like the dangerous threat is right behind you and all you can do is run. Seek is an imposing presence as usual. God, I love that chromatic. And for once, BF actually sounds terrified while running from the life-threatening humanoid goop creature. And the other two we went over, he didn't have much distinguishable emotion, but here I can tell how scared he is, loud and clear. And I've always loved it when songs manage to get emotion out of a monotone chromatic. This is another song that doesn't reach the 2-minute mark, and although I would have preferred if it did, it's paced perfectly, so I don't even mind. That's the case with a lot of short songs in this mod. I wish they were longer, but they do everything they need to with the time they have, so it's okay. This was asked for a long time ever since I first heard it, and only dropped down recently, so why is that? The mixing is so odd in this song, I don't even know what's louder than what. Sometimes all I hear is Seek, sometimes all I hear is BF, sometimes the instrumental overpowers them both, and when I try to concentrate on all of it at once it becomes garbled noise. But it's really good sounding noise and still deserves a high spot because of everything else I just said. another Rush song. Didn't realize how polarizing his catalog was. Rushing is quite awesome, and once again, I'm not sure how to express how I think about it. The main melodies are nice and memorable, they're rock-like but also kinda bouncy at the same time. It's just cool, I especially like the piano to start and the guitar fading in. Oh yeah, Rush has a better chromatic this time. It's more ghost-like to better settle how scary it can look, and Rush can sound like the center of attention when it's his turn, or a great backup during BF's turns. Speaking of BF, I think he has a filter over him that gives him more echo. Not sure the entire point of it, it's not like we're in a cave, but it makes him sound cooler, I like it. Although with all its praises, I'm surprised how often I brought this up for other songs, but it's pretty short, not even 2 minutes. If it were fleshed out a bit more, I could be higher, but I'll happily take what we have. Yeah, pretty short segment for the pretty short song, am I right?
Again! Again! Again!
Recursion breaks the normal formula of ambush songs by actually having a consistent flow throughout the runtime, and that's why it's easily my favorite one. It's also just as short as Invader, but doesn't have that long ass intro or outro, so in a way it's actually much longer. Anyways, first off, this instrumental rocks, both in the genre itself, and it's just awesome to hear. The drums and guitars have so much impact behind them, and it's really cool sounding, I love it. Although that same int is just a bit too overpowering, as Ambush and sometimes BF can be hard to hear over it. Aside from that, like I said earlier, the song actually has unique melodies that I can tell apart from each other, and they're all stellar with how well they fit the tone of the song. This one's also a bit repetitive like the other Ambush songs, but by that I mean it knows when to repeat a melody and change it up slightly for better effect later in the song. For example, it has this main melody that's used twice and a half. One at the 45-second mark, where we get familiar with it, then it repeats a small part of that at a minute 24 for a build-up, into a super satisfying drop at a minute 47. I love how Recursion uses the repetition that the other Ambush songs had, but in a way that makes it better for once. If all the Ambush songs are getting remasters, then I want all of them to follow this kind of structure. And hell, if this one had better mixing, maybe even do what it does even better, it could genuinely be top 10 material. Finally, another Screech song. Y'all can finally see how silly they really are. Case in point, Darkness. All of these melodies are so fun and bouncy and it makes me happy. Not exactly too sure how I can describe it, but I guess it's like a song you can hear in a circus. There's another case of Saruki BF here. About time, because I've been waiting for another good showcase of that. While this isn't the best usage of it, it's still standard and serviceable, especially paired with Screech and the funny tone of the song. Oh yeah, also Screech is pretty standard, but him and BF together make some amazing duets. They sound awesome when combined. The instrumental gives off the vibes of a silly Halloween cartoon like Spooky Month. It reeks of that spooky kind of fun. Hell, it even had the same trick or treat as Spookies did. This I did not know until hearing the instrumental alone. Although that same instrumental could be a bit better with a few mixing adjustments on some elements that aren't heard as clearly over our singers. Maybe even have more instruments in it to make it even more memorable. Besides that, my only real complaint is that it's not even 2 minutes. I was having such a good time. Why did it have to cut itself so short? Either way, I'm not sure what else to say about Darkness besides it's a really fun Halloween-like banger. This is one I could come back to fairly frequently if it weren't for somehow better options.
Man, I'm dead.
It's a skeleton that's never seen doing anything in the original game. Hell yeah, brother! This song is funny to me. Why did they make a whole song out of a character that literally does nothing? And how is said song such a banger? To start off, BF has a unique chromatic again. It's like FM BF, but altering it a bit to how I like it to sound. I'll call it Shop BF because there's another song in this location that has the same one. Bob's chromatic voice sound that comes from the dead skeleton. The noise associated with Bob uses samples from the same Earthbound sound font that Toby Fox used in Megalovania, and it's really fitting. When you hear that instrument, you think Megalovania, and when you think Megalovania, you think Sans a skeleton. Bob is a skeleton, so it all comes full circle, and that's cool. And the instrumental goes way harder than it has any right to. Nothing's happening, so why does it sound like a dance party? Especially on the part where Bob gets fancy clothes and a guitar out of nowhere. It's so good for no reason. Dead Serious is awesome, but not flawless, as the mixing is all over the place. Some points, BF is so loud it peaks the audio. Some points I can hardly hear Bob over the instrumental, and generally just really loud for some reason. But a few sound issues aren't going to stop me from enjoying this one to its fullest.
The kid is not my son. Woo! She says I am the one.
This song is up there with one of, if not the catchiest songs of the mod. Kumo, like Darkness, is nothing more than a really fun time. For starters, the melodies here might be the most memorable of the OST. I know I said that for Watch Out, but upon several re-listens of the song, I realized that title could change. Once you hear these, you can't help but hum them to yourself, maybe dance in your seat a bit. Every single melody here is a joy to experience. BF and Timothy sing lower pitch here than anywhere else, and it works really well for the song. I bet singing in a higher octave would have made the melody sound a bit worse. Then there's the instrumental, the very definition of simple but effective. Nothing too grand or special, but it nails the happiness mood to a T. It's like something you'd hear in a toy factory. And when it does pick up the intensity, it has no shortage of silly sounding effects in the background, only to keep the mood silly, and I love it. Then everything I just said gets even better once that key change hits. Melodies are even nicer, instrumental feels even better while keeping that simplicity, the whole mood just improves just that little bit better to feel so good. Kumo is such a happy little song for a happy little spider, I don't imagine how anyone could dislike this one at all. finally another free play song. It's been so long since the last one I nearly thought we went through all of them already. Encounter, but extended and in pixel. Apparently it's called Undertale Mix because it uses a lot of the same sound fonts that Toby Fox used for some of his most recognizable Undertale pieces, as you can tell by the beginning instrumental. But anyways, Sencounter only really made it up here by being a better encounter. It's got most of the same melodies along with a few original ones to make it longer, and most of the instrumental replaced with, as said earlier, a bunch of Undertale sound fonts. Doesn't have as much intensity as Encounter did, along with a weaker Seek performance in Inst, but it makes up for it by being a lot more unique in this OST. Speaking of unique, BF here has hands down the weirdest chromatic I have ever heard from him, with the only other real contender being Galoom BF in Last Course. I have no idea how it would work in any other song, but it handles high notes a lot better than low notes, which this song has plenty of. And the song also has by far the weakest tonal segment of any song in the mod. They're just a bunch of BF samples scattered about without much coherency besides stay on the beat. But it's not to say it's a bad segment. It's serviceable, but every other option is simply better. Other than that, Sencounter is what I wanted more of out of Encounter, but it's in a completely different theme. It's got some ups and downs, but came out with an improvement in the end. What else can you do about it?
Come back when you're a little, richer.
You have no idea how badly I wanted this to be top 10. It was number 12 at some point, but then it fell all the way down here. So what happened? Well, first, let me discuss how it got up there in the first place. It's the same reason I've been discussing for quite a few songs so far. Catchiness. This is yet another one of the songs that I love for its memorability. It's so groovy and it feels like one of those songs you'd hear at a high school party. There's the other instance of Shoppy F I alluded to before, and once again it sounds incredible. I couldn't imagine the song without it. El Goblino has a raspier voice and I'm not sure why, and also Jeff gets to sing, and because he's never seen making a sound in game, it's difficult to think about any other kind of voice he could have. Despite both of these chromatics having something off about them, I don't mind them at all as they're used really well. These melodies, once again, super catchy, even though they have the same kind of chord progression as Jumpscare, but the variation in this one are so different I actually had to try kinda hard to notice it, and even then, I don't care at all. Besides, there's a few other completely different melodies thrown in there as well. Man, this song is just so good, I could listen to this for hours on end. So I did, and it started to stand out a bit. Yep, the whole reason this incredible experience isn't any higher is because I heard it a bit too much at once. Didn't feel like it was going any lower in the moment, but when I heard the OST again for this video, I was already too familiar with this one and it just kinda plummeted. That and I appreciated other songs more, but still, if it weren't for the mod chart of Dead Series, I would play Bargain over it every single time I got to Jeff's shop. And we just covered Dead Series not too long ago, it's a great song in its own right. Wow, there were 11 songs above it before, and 6 more topped it since then? We got a long road ahead of us. Finally, another Hell song. It's been so long since Stare Hell. How many times have I said finally to start off a segment by now? And look, it's Itzy Bitzy, the song I wanted to place higher, and it's a version that I get to place higher. Awesome. Itzy Bitzy Hell is basically just Itzy Bitzy, but better, and with more to discuss, so everything I said about that applies here and more. The melodies here are more sporadic and chaotic, obviously to make the harder version of the song be harder, and while I don't usually like it when a remix puts faster melodies in for the sole purpose of making it harder, it works better here and a lot of other Hell and even rec mixes because it can essentially be a whole new song to better fit these faster melodies while still feeling familiar to the original. Here there's revamped melodies so I can still recognize it as Itzy Bitzy, along with some new segments to make it feel fresh. The new memes thrown in especially make the song feel different but the same, even if they don't flow as well with the song as the OG. And the new segments are also awesome as well. You can stick them into the original and I wouldn't even notice the difference. But yeah, also more BF tonals. Even though it's super short, they fit practically perfectly into the segment and I wish there was more of it. There's also a key change, which as usual is epic in all forms of the word. The song is just a song you would hear at a party, and the key change is that beat drop. It's so awesome. Other than that, not too sure what else to say besides just Itzy Bitzy, but better. But I already said that. As much as I wanted the best Timothy song to be Kumo, this is just too cool and realistic to pass up.
You shut the fuck up! 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 I hope you die in a fire!
I've been doing a pretty good job of keeping the cursing to a minimum this video. Maybe I can even go the whole thing without saying a single one. Are you The song is another one of the catchiest in the mod. I guess the street songs are simply like that. BF is singing in the Saruki voice and it makes the song so much better. It's used incredibly. The instant's funky and upbeat, it makes me want to dance in my seat. Screech is the same he's always been, so he's great too. The song just gets better and better as it goes on. Everything I said just keeps ramping up and up until the cooldown at the minute 30 mark, and it's all so cool. Shoot, it's only 2 minutes? I didn't even notice, and I don't even care. This is honestly the perfect length for it. I don't want it extended or reduced. There's even some more expertly executed tonals. I said it back in Jumpscare, but this mod might be the best mod to ever use samples and tonals, and while I've been saving that discussion for another song coming up, I might as well say that here. No matter what the sample is, they always find a way to make it sound godly. Here they tweak the Sugar Moon BF tonals, a commonly hated sample by my friend group, in a way to make it as if BF is in his own diss track for Screech, and it's awesome. I don't really have any problems with this song. It's just really good, and a lot of people I've seen who've also experienced the mod seem to agree. It's a well-deserved fan favorite.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!
Sweet Dreams is insanely dramatic, and I love it. The instrumental is genuinely the most beautiful instant the mod, with all those elements you would hear in a song meant for a horror movie, especially that piano. Jeff, not the shopkeeper, sounds absolutely killer. Get it? His voice reminded me of a chainsaw and being just as threatening as Seek's voice, but not being too loud so anything's hard to hear. BF sounds normal, although I sense a little bit of nervousness in some of his notes, and I don't know if I'm just hallucinating that or not, but it's a neat detail I pulled out of it. There's also an atonal segment, and BF and Jeff's back and forth is actually amazing. I'm not sure what Jeff is even meant to sound like, but he sounds great, and we got even more expert usage of Sugar Moon's BF atonals. Do you see what I mean when I say this mod's atonal usage is some of the best ever? And then the key change hits, and I'm just ascending as the song's main theme hits. It's so heavenly. And after that, it all just kind of drops, and that's my only real flaw with the song. The last minute where the song slows down feels too abrupt and too dragged out. The first half is fine, although like I said, abrupt. The main melody one last time is a nice way to let the song settle down before finishing off. However, after that, there's this last little bit of admittedly beautiful somber tunes as Jeff sits back down humming to himself, but really it just feels like it's dragging out the song longer than it needs to be. Like, did we really need a whole 30 extra seconds of ending tunes when what was just before it was good enough already? It still sounds beautiful, but also sounds like it just got stuck in there last minute. If the song was remade to better accompany one of those two endings, it would feel a lot better to transition to. But as is, it's still great. Coming Through is awesome. Another short and sweet one, but out of all the other songs in this kind of formula, I want an extension out of this one the most. It's fast and feels dangerous, as if Rush is actually telling you to move or else. The inst is intense and rock-like. These melodies are some of the best of the Rush catalog. BF is really nice to listen to, and Rush is a little hard to hear, but fine overall. And the song is more unique as it goes on, first starting with a few back and forth which are all right on their own, then duets where BF and Rush are amazing together, even alternating turns at times, then a change in the chord progression to spice things up, and finally another amazing melody before rounding things out with a finale that comes too abruptly in my opinion. It really sounds like it was going to keep going and get even better, but nah, just winds down and ends right at 2 minutes. It's funny to me how the 2 longer Rush songs are the worst ones and the 2 shorter ones are the better by a significant margin. Anyways, yeah, I really like Coming Through, and similar to Rushing, I only have so much to say about it before repeating myself. As much as I wanted Shitstain to be the best Screech song, this is just too clear of an answer to ignore. Stalker takes the bounciness of Darkness and the catchiness of Shitstain to make a semi-serious masterpiece. The inst here is the best out of any other Screech song, the star of the show here being the piano. It sounds so nice. Screech is lower pitched here, which gives a bit more of a serious tone to the rest of the song, but this is Screech, so it can never be fully serious. And BF has a really subtle but really nice filter over him. Then there's a key change, which unironically might be one of the hardest drops in the mod. It's basically the same amazing song, but even more amazing, and it lasts throughout the whole rest of the song. If Timmy Tough Knuckles were made into a song, this would be it. Screech is trying his hardest to make a scary experience, but the song is still a goofy and fun time, and the harder he tries, the more fun it becomes. Hence the key change. I don't know, maybe I'm just stretching it a bit. I just can't express how much I love Stalker. The most perfect blend of serious and non-serious you can possibly get. Wait, I feel like I did something wrong. As much as I wanted Shitstain to be the best Screech song, Shitstain. My cursing streak, no! Oh boy, how do I discuss this one? Always Watching Hell is like a whole lot of good sounding noise to me. Admittedly, it's one of the tracks I've heard the least of in this OST, so I might just need some time to distinguish everything that happens here because it's a lot. But seeing how this got high even without me fully knowing what's going on, this song shows a concerning amount of promise. To start off, this inst is absolutely insane. It's literally everything I said about Always Watching, but twice as good. Eyes here goes really high, higher than most chromatics reasonably should, but it somehow works. Not entirely sure why, so my best guess is it manages to sound the same up there as it does normally, unlike other chromatics that just distort themselves. FMBF makes his final appearance in this list, and like Invader, it works for the faster paced song, especially when a whole lot of spam is thrown in. Maybe that's how to best use the chromatic. Again, I normally don't like it when the melodies get more chaotic for the sole purpose of making the song harder, but this song pulls that off the best. It's literally just Always Watching, but harder, yet it works. The only thing I actually don't like about the song is the fade out 2.5 minutes in. It's really abrupt, really strong, feels pointless, and just leaves a huge gap in the song as I can hardly hear anything while it fades back in. I'd appreciate it if its strength was toned down and I could still hear things while they're fading back in. It's fine though, because the pop off right after goes insanely hard, as do a lot of BF pop offs in this song. Always Watching Hell is an enigma to me. It has a lot of elements I usually don't like, but works in a way where I would enjoy it anyways, and I'm still trying to fully decipher everything it really does. At that point, it has a good chance of just being top 5.
To have burst into flame.
I figure. Haven't seen you in a bit. I only have one kinda major nitpick when it comes to Hyperacusis, and funnily enough, it's the opposite problem of Sweet Dreams. Nothing happens for the first minute. It's just a barely audible BF solo for the first 20 seconds, then 15 more seconds of Figure showing himself, and then nothing but instant heartbeats until the song finally starts 20 seconds later. You did not need a whole minute of build-up just to make the song hit the 4.5 minute mark. However, that doesn't really matter when I can simply fast forward while casually listening, and when it does start, the beat becomes infectious. Figure's a little hard to hear, but that's just its chromatic being naturally quiet. Other than that, it's nice on its own. BF also has a noticeable echo over his voice, and it really fits the song in an inexplainable way. It's really cool. Where the song really shines though is the melodies. For being reasonably simple, they go much harder than they should, but I guess pairing them with this instrumental, which is also too simple but too good, makes for a perfect combo. The BF solo where everything goes quiet for a bit gives a little feeling of creepiness, as if you're waiting for the danger to strike, but you don't know from what angle or at what time. Then Figure roars and changes the key, and oh my god, nothing else even matters anymore. Same melodies but more hype moments, heartbeats in the middle of gameplay, the dreading feeling of panic setting in, it's all so awesome. It gets even awesomer, is that even a word, as a new melody barges in out of nowhere and both characters pop the fuck off. And everything dies down for a bit, the key changes back to normal, BF sings to himself a bit, then everything catches on fire, the song speeds up and finally ends in this final moment of chaos. There is so much that happens in Hyperacusis, and it bangs as one of the second last songs you can have at the end of your run. No wonder it took a while to see Figure in the list again. Was this not the same song in Dead Last? How'd it rise up to top 10? I guess that's just the power of a Hell remix, it's barely even the same song. I've yet to meet anyone that actually doesn't like Demise Hell. Every list I've seen, it's always been high A at worst, and it definitely deserves this praise. It no longer sounds like a lullaby, and instead like a fight for your life. Rush uses the same chromatic as in Base Demise, but it's actually being used amazingly here with the faster pace of the song, not as many long notes, and some super nice sounding high notes. Hell, the thing the song does super well in general is high notes, as BF also hits them for the perfect amount of impact. I'd also like to point out that BF never stopped singing in the song, making Rush a purely supporting voice, and I find that neat for some reason. The two's duets are really great. It feels like Waldo just experimented around and found the best melodies for Rush to back up BF with. The tone changes that happen are a little out of nowhere, but sound cool otherwise, and it kinda just loops itself afterward, but it's okay, because I still really like that segment that it loops too. Then we get this amazing build-up that keeps increasing in tension more and more. Like, what is BF gonna sing after all this? What could the incoming pop-off possibly sound like? Good God, I love this build-up. And finally, it pays off in what is quite possibly the biggest glow-up of a melody I have ever heard. The same melody that made Demise such a snooze fest returns for one of the most hype moments in the mod, and it just gets better as BF keeps singing it while Rush repeats the melody BF just sang. Just when I thought the song and Demise couldn't be any different, they decided to mix the two perfectly into each other. God, it's so good! If that Demise remaster comes out and turns out to be half as good as this is, then we're in for a treat once Floor 1 Plus rolls around.
Think fast, Chuckle Nuts!
I initially didn't know what to think about Watch Out Hell. It didn't feel the same as Watch Out at all. Aside from the melody that I love the bass song for so much, now being hardly recognizable and no longer leaving the same impact. The infectious beat that made the song so memorable to me was completely changed up, and the feeling of wanting to loop the song over and over just wasn't there. All being replaced with what felt like exactly what I didn't like in a remix: faster melodies just to make a harder difficulty. That was all before I listened to it a couple more times and realized this was nothing but a direct upgrade to Watch Out. Minus the catchiness, nothing really beats Watch Out on that end. Something Watch Out was always missing out on was an intense instrumental. The Hell mix gives it exactly that, and it's superb. While there's less memorable melodies, the ones that are familiar were improved to be better than just memorable, and the new ones go insane with the inst. The BF solos especially are just legendary. He sounds so desperate for the thing not to hurt him. There's even a Demise Hell reference thrown in there for some reason. It's so satisfying hearing these high notes and the brief moments where he matches the inst, even if it means he overpowers Eyes sometimes. Speaking of Eyes, although he doesn't have as strong of a performance as BF, he's still amazing as a backup as BF sings his heart out. And also the faster tempo change that comes before the final minute is absolutely stellar, basically just being more of what was just playing but better. Other than that, I'm not too sure what else to add, other than the final tempo change at the end really wasn't needed at all, but it still sounds cool, I guess. Overall, while it's a lot more satisfying looping bass Watch Out over and over, its Hell remix is nothing short of outstanding. What if we took Not a Sound and made it sound a lot nicer to listen to? Well, you would get Not a Sound Hell. This song does a fantastic job at making Not a Sound more intense without fully compromising the Don't Make Noise style the original had. It has both of the same really nice sounding melodies, except here they're even nicer to hear, along with all the new melodies added into the remix, making especially well into the song. The instrumental got a huge upgrade, becoming the perfect mix of rock-like but not too loud. Sometimes the song does get a little loud though, but when it does, it seems to take one of two routes: do what the original did and quiet down, or intensify and make it feel like a chase. It's like the song has a mind of its own and it's amazing. BF and Figure sound as good as they always do, although Figure has the inherent flaw of being a bit quiet, especially during the duets. and BF manages to pull off not one, not two, but 3 solo performances. Each and every one of them are superb. The song's ups and downs make it feel like a roller coaster from start to finish. There's loud parts and there's quiet parts that are perfectly paced, and it's just so nice. Especially when there's heartbeat notes to fill in that empty space. Then there's the final minute that I can only really describe as magical. The looming threat of danger, BF sounding the best he's been so far on this list, the filters that feel like flashbacks, it just feels like a fight for your life. The only thing that can make this part better, besides being able to hear figure spam better, is if there was a chase scene to go along with it, because it sure feels like one. Starting to run out of ways to say I really love this song, and we still have 8 more to go. I'm surprised I've kept this up for this long.
I'm going to kill you and then kill you again.
Dude, this fucking song right here. How have the names of the Seek songs gotten progressively lamer as the songs got better? This feels much more fitting for the name Found You or Ready or not Delve. Anyways, this is basically the perfect Seek song. The intensity is maxed out, the energy is through the roof, the desperation couldn't be more present. I've already described Encounter as a song saying there's danger behind you, you gotta run, but this one is yelling
sprint as fast as your cutie legs can take you or suffer a fate worse than death.
This is the most threatening Seek has ever sounded so far, and in turn, BF sounds scared for his very being. The instrumental is absolutely insane, with choirs chanting behind Seek's very presence, organs giving doomsday vibes, and drums and guitars banging and shredding to the point of breaking from being hit and shredded so hard. It's superb. These melodies especially give the feeling of complete panic, with lots of spam and not much hold notes, like a desperate attempt to get away from the danger at all costs. And then somehow everything I said improves tenfold on the key change. The sheer panic and desperation the song gives off at this point, I can't even explain how godlike it sounds. You just gotta hear it for yourself. The song in and of itself sounds like it could be a Hell remix on its own, and I just gotta imagine what it would be like if it did get one. It could either be completely miss the theme this one had, or be top 100 FNF hands down. There's really no in between. Depths Below, the final song of the story mode, and man, what a final send-off it is. Those 5 minutes might look daunting when you first see them, but trust me, it completely earns every second of its runtime, and you don't even notice the time fly by. The song just screams one more obstacle to end the journey. After an hour of door after door, and after all of your prior trials and tribulations, you finally made it to the last one in the hotel and bested its challenge. However, even in defeat, Figure isn't going down without a fight. Figure sings quietly again, but for once I fully do not care at all. It's the end of BF's journey, so he deserves the whole spotlight as he descends into the mines. Hell, Figure lost the last song, he shouldn't even be here, but he's such a sore loser that he wanted to get BF to go down with him. And whenever he is audible, mainly in his solos, it really feels like what you would hear during a villain's final attempt at stopping the hero, as they're already en route to completing their goal. If you can think of any shows or movies where the antagonist makes one last attempt to stop the protagonist, that's what I mean. Anyways, on to BF. He sounds absolutely majestic in this song. He hits every range of notes practically perfectly, to the point where I would dare say this is one of the best usages of bass BF ever. The melodies he sings feels like what you would hear in the credits of a movie, but the instrumental is hardcore like a boss fight, and they mix together so well to make this unexpected phase 2 of a song. It's honestly beautiful. And there's a whole 3 minutes of it and none of it gets stale as it finds new ways to keep itself interesting the whole way through. Whether it be mood changes, halftime sections, changing the music structure, it's amazing how the song keeps itself fresh for so long. Then after those 3 minutes is a time signature change of all things, and it fits so well it's hardly even a change. How could the song get possibly even better? Heavenly high notes from BF, that's how. After the song calms down a bit, then a bit of a finale riff where you would expect the song to end, there's a beautiful BF solo with a piano in the back to show the aftermath of all that ruckus. Depths Below is no less than the perfect song to end your Fnf Doors run on. In fact, it's my new gatekeeper of SS tier. If a song is better than it, it gets to go into my growing list of favorite songs. If not, it stays at high S. That means all 5 of the rest of these songs are some of the peak of the FNF community to me. So let's get into why that's the case and how they could possibly be any better than a finale like this.
You'll never see it coming.
I have yet to meet someone who actually dislikes Imperceptible. On every list I've seen of this mod, of which there aren't many, the song is always S tier or higher, and I could not agree more. Let me get my biggest praise out of the way first. The melodies BF and Figure sing here are some of, if not the most godlike melodies in the entire mod. There's an odd amount of emotion behind them. They pair with the beautiful instrumental perfectly. They're just so heavenly to hear. I just want to ascend every time they come on. Speaking of Figure and BF, they both sound incredible, especially when they slide while they change pitch. It's so good. And yeah, I said both. For once, Figure is perfectly listenable and is just as amazing, if not more, as he was in every prior song he was in. And BF also sounds nervous as he sings, especially during those aforementioned slides. I even love the pause in the middle. It's like everything's catching their breath to prepare for the final showdown. Then the key changes as the building catches fire, and we sing the same thing that was sung in the beginning. Although I would have liked more variety, I can never complain when it's literally what I just heard but better, and is already pretty incredible. Another one of the well-deserved fan favorites of the mod, Imperceptible, is absolutely amazing. You know, despite this feeling and sounding nothing like the serenity and peacefulness of Guidance, you'd imagine it wouldn't fit for Guiding Light at all. I thought that at first, but over time it just became more and more familiar to connect it with her, and I don't even know how to explain why. Even if it didn't, Guidance Heaven? Yeah, Guidance Heaven is still phenomenal on its own. The high energy this beat generates is infectious. This is what I would hear in a rave. I've said it 1,000 times by now, but BF sounds great, but what I didn't say is he's especially amazing in Hell remixes, and this one is no exception. It's amazing how they managed to make harder melodies that don't just make the song harder, but also make it sound better with more variety in the pitches BF sings. Then there's Guiding Light, who sounds absolutely adorable, still having that feeling of safety in her voice like in Guidance, even despite singing faster. Especially when the song does slow down, she's like the calmness in the eye of the storm. Hey, that kind of perfectly describes the song actually, a storm. There's very hectic and headbanging parts throughout most of it that tends to go even harder at random spots, then occasionally it calms down until you have a moment to catch your breath. Then a few unpredictable swings in intensity, and finally you're out and it's peaceful again. They really put the heaven in Guidance Heaven, because this makes me want to ascend until I get up there. What a phenomenal song for what's likely to be the first Hell mix you play. Where do I even begin with Abnormality? Funny enough, I expected this to fall off, but clearly it didn't. Let's discuss the song as it goes on for once, because I actually have enough to say to pull that off. This first minute and almost a half is all but perfect. You clicked on a Seek song that looks different from the others, and you're taken to a white and black section that's filled with mystery as you wonder what Seek could have in store now. Then you apparently see your opponent's poses on the edge of the screen, and it's huge and monstrous and definitely doesn't look like Seek. Now you're left wondering, what the fuck did Seek just become? Then he lets out a roar and reveals he's now an even more horrifying monster than he already was. Then the song really begins. The inst here is the most impactful one so far, giving more final boss vibes than we've ever felt before. Yes, even more than Depths Below, and it's a free play song. What are we doing here? Seek's altered chromatic is even more terrifying under this new form of his, like he sounds genuinely pissed at BF for using that glitchy crucifix and turning him into this. BF's high notes have never hit harder before, not exactly filled with fear or nervousness somehow, but kind of sounds like confidence. Like he's dealt with this guy plenty of times already, what's a growth in size gonna do? He has experience with that too. Random Jumpscare reference that I mentioned earlier. And these melodies he sings hit like a truck. BF sounds gorgeous singing them all. Seek doesn't miss out on this beauty either. He's just as amazing of a backup as BF is as a lead, like a baritone singer for the sopranos, especially when he slides long notes. And the next 40 seconds are part of why I expected this to go low, honestly. The long notes and lone piano make this part so empty, and there's even times where they both stop and make the song completely quiet. Like you couldn't fill that empty space with anything else. And what about more unique melodies instead of just holds? But somehow I'm able to walk right past it and enjoy it just as much as the rest of the song, because Seek is also right after that, alongside a ramp up in the inst, and fills a bit more of that emptiness. Next, there was gonna be a chase scene here, and it definitely sounds like one, aka sounds epic and climactic as fuck. There's 4 turns of one of the hardest headbangers of the mod into the most intense and ascension-worthy build-up of the mod, and they transition into each other fantastically. Words can hardly describe the amazement I feel in listening to these parts. Then this part, which is supposed to take place in a boiler room, is a little mixed for me. The first turns are super energetic and sporadic, and I absolutely adore them, but the next there's a shocking amount of emptiness in comparison, so much so where the slight bits where no one's singing feel a little dull. Finally, the melody at the start of the song kicks back in, and BF goes extremely high to end it off, which, while the melody was sick, BF going that high felt very unnecessary. Regardless, this used to be 4th. I expected this, no, I wanted this to go down to maybe top 10, because while calling this amazing is a huge understatement, it's got flaws I thought I couldn't look past. But somehow, I did, and it rose to where it is now. All I want out of this is a small remaster to pad out those nitpicks I had, even though they were quite minuscule, and this could be top 100 FNF in my eyes. Bro, this is just Demise again with how the low placing song gets Hell mixed to a really high spot. I've been waiting practically the whole video to talk about I Spy Hell because this song is actually insane. Firstly, the instrumental got a huge upgrade from I Spy. It's not just synths and 8-men breaks anymore, it's actual instruments like guitars and drums, and they go completely ballistic with how hard they make the song go. As soon as I heard those guitars at the beginning instrumental, I knew I was down for something that would go absolutely crazy, and boy did it deliver. I always knew the main melody of I Spy had potential, and here it's used at its fullest. I don't imagine how it could sound any better, and it doesn't help that the new melodies are just as amazing of a support for it. It's basically just everything good about I Spy amped up tenfold and then some. Of course, I sounds great as per usual, the long notes in particular sounding great as the backup for BF, along with BF having that Hell mix buff to his chromatic usage, which he even switches up as he's singing. I love it when he does that. If I had any flaws with this masterpiece, it's only a bit too long, and I mean a bit. The only part that feels like it barely drags is the time between 3 minutes 59 and 4 minutes 19, but at that point, that's just being nitpicky. I Spy Hell is practically the perfect remix for I Spy, and it doesn't help that just so happens to have what is hands down the best BF pop-off in the mod. Remember what I said about Delve being the perfect Seek song? Yeah, I lied, it's this one. Seek's only Hell mix, and it's for the least good one of all things. Quite frankly, I wanted this to fall off too, maybe give I Spy Hell the crown, but it's been first ever since I first heard it, and I guess it's kinda meant to be that way. Found You Hell fixes everything I didn't like about Found You and so much more. Now where have I seen that before? The intensity in the bass song was severely lacking, and here it is now through the roof. In Bass Found You, it was more suspense than intense. In this Hell mix, they're balanced out perfectly, both taking turns for each other to shine. Seek is the usual amazing Seek as per usual. Wait, what? Seek is the usual amazing Seek we're used to, but 1.5 times better usage because Hell mixes do that to their singers. But BF! Oh man, do I love BF's voice in this song. Hey, deja vu. The song is what I meant when I said this mod possibly has the best usage of atonals and samples out of any other mod I've seen. Case in point, BF and Found You Hell. The sample tuning and usage on him is so godlike while still keeping the fear in his voice. It's impressive and always leaves me craving for more of it. So much so it feels like a whiplash going from them to bass BF so fast. He's practically the reason the song is first. That, and this is also a contender for the most intense and threatening song of the mod. Even the cooldown parts feel dangerous. And if I already called it that, do I really need to say the instrumental is also exceptional? Or that the key change is just straight up the best part of the whole mod? You know what, I changed my mind about I Spy Hell. It doesn't have the best BF pop-outs in the mod. This does. The constant chromatic changes and dramatic feeling being intensified even further than it already was as Seek roars and inches closer and closer. It's terrifying, but it's also beautiful in a way. Like a true final boss battle after the villain is defeated. It transforms into phase 2 or even phase 3. Found You Hell is more incredible than my simple descriptions of it can describe. I really need to find a better way of doing this, and if it weren't for its insane difficulty, I would continue to play this constantly if I was given the chance. And that was all the songs in Fnf Doors Floor 1 from worst to best. Now I wanted to cover this mod at some point because it's something a bit more special to me personally. Like I said in the intro, I couldn't get some of these songs off of my mind, so I just kept playing some of the OST for days. But more than that, it's the whole reason I play Doors, and hell, even Roblox as a whole in the first place. I played the mod when it first came out on August 2025, and the concept it was based on looked interesting, so a few weeks after that experience, I opened Roblox for the first time in months to check it out. Now, 8 months later, it's pretty much the only game I play on there, and I play it quite frequently. I've also gotten into 2 others, Block Tales and Looming Legacy, both of which I never would have found if it weren't for Doors. It's a super fun, repetitive trial and error game where each death tells you how to avoid the monster that killed you, and it's satisfying to finally overcome all those trials based on what you learned. And it doesn't even stop there. Once you get good enough, you can set your own personal challenges with modifiers to make your game easier or harder, or simply restrict yourself. I never would have tried this out if it wasn't for Fnf Doors, because horror games were never really in my zone of comfort, but this mod, and a lot of FNF mods just being horror mods in general, help me expand my boundaries to see this scary but worthwhile experience. If you haven't already, I highly recommend you play Doors yourself. Once you get the hang of it, it's really simple. And who knows, one day we might encounter each other in the same lobby. To better those chances though, I now have a Discord server in the description if you want to talk to me and my community more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video if you want to be there.